Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we'll be breaking down the AFC East, their schedule, my predictions for their schedule, and what their win and loss record will be like at the end of the season. This on another episode of So to start off, in the AFC East, we have the New York Jets, and in Week 1, they host the Pittsburgh Steelers, where I think Justin Fields will get revenge against his former team, and the Jets will win. In Week 2, the Jets get to host the Buffalo Bills, and unfortunately for the Jets, the Bills are better, so they get the win here. In Week 3, the Jets travel to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Jets will unfortunately fall to the Buccaneers here. In Week 4, the Jets will this time be traveling to play Miami, and the Jets will once again lose. Miami is just the better team. In Week 5, the Jets get to host the Dallas Cowboys, and unfortunately, Dallas, I think, is a more talented team overall, and the Jets will lose at home. In Week 6, the Jets get to host the Denver Broncos, and I think the Jets win this game. Justin Fields, well, I don't think he's a kind of quarterback that can win overall consistently. I think he'll have good games, and this, I think, will be one of them. In Week 7, the Jets get to host the Carolina Panthers, and I think the Panthers actually win this game against the Jets. The Panthers, if they continue to be as good as they were at the end of the 2024 season, should be an interesting team to watch heading into 2025. In Week 8, the Jets get to travel to play the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think the Jets will lose this game. Unfortunately for the Jets, they're going up against a high-powered offense like the Bengals with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with the Bengals in this game. In Week 9, the Jets get their bye, and in Week 10, they get to host the Cleveland Browns, which I think the Jets coming off their bye will win. In Week 11, the Jets get to travel to play the New England Patriots in New England, and I think the Patriots win here against the Jets at home. The Patriots might be one of the better teams in the AFC East in 2025, and them winning this game would not surprise me. In Week 12, the Jets get to travel to play the Baltimore Ravens, and I think the Jets will lose this game. The Ravens will be one of the best AFC teams this year, so the Jets losing to them is no surprise. In Week 13, the Jets get to host the Atlanta Falcons, and I think the Jets will actually win this game. In Week 14, the Jets get to host the Miami Dolphins, and I think the Jets this time will win. I think they'll split the series with Miami. In Week 15, the Jets will get to travel to play the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think that unfortunately for the Jets, the Jaguars win here. The Jaguars had a very terrible year in 2024. Under a new head coach, I think the Jaguars rebound and are good enough to get the win against the Jets in Week 15. In Week 16, the Jets get to travel to play the New Orleans Saints, and while the Saints will be one of the worst teams this season, I think that they will get a win against the Jets here. In Week 17, the Jets get to host the New England Patriots, and I think they split the series with New England and win here at home. And in Week 18, to finish out their season, the Jets travel to play the Buffalo Bills, and honestly, the Bills are going to win again. The Jets are just not as good as the Bills. And unless it's a situation where the Bills are resting their starters, there's no way the Jets win this game. With that being said, that means that the Jets will end their season with a record of 6-11. Next up, we have the New England Patriots. And the Patriots in Week 1 start their season off with a bang by beating the Las Vegas Raiders at home. In Week 2, the Patriots get to travel to Miami to play the Dolphins, and I think they'll lose this game. The Patriots don't always do so well when they travel to Miami early in the season, and this is one of those games, so I think the Patriots will lose in Week 2. In Week 3, the Patriots get to host the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think the Patriots will win this game. The Patriots improved a lot in terms of their roster over this offseason, and the Steelers, on defense, while they should still be very good, there are questions about that offense. In Week 4, the Patriots get to host the Carolina Panthers, and I think they'll win this game. Drake May looked amazing when he did play in 2024, and now that he actually has a receiving core around him and an O-line to protect him, I think that they'll be more than enough to beat the Panthers in Week 4. In Week 5, the Patriots get to travel to play the Buffalo Bills at home, and they're going to lose this game. The Bills are the best team in the division, so beating them is going to be a challenge for the Patriots, and I think they lose here. In Week 6, the Patriots get to travel to play the New Orleans Saints. Unfortunately for the Saints, they're going to be bad, and the Patriots are just better on both sides of the ball. In Week 7, the Patriots now get to travel to play the Tennessee Titans. And while Cam Ward is now the starting quarterback for the Titans, which should hopefully in the long term be good for that team, I think in the short term, at least this season, the Titans will not be good and the Patriots will get the win. In Week 8, the Patriots get to host the Cleveland Browns, and I think an upset will happen here where the Browns do indeed beat the Patriots. In Week 9, the Patriots get to host the Atlanta Falcons, and I think Drake May is much better than Michael Penix Jr., so I think the Patriots will out-duel the Falcons in Week 9. In Week 10, the Patriots get to travel to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are coming off their bye. And coming off their bye, I could see Tampa easily beating the Patriots. In Week 11, the Patriots get to host the New York Jets, and I think that the Patriots will beat the Jets at home. The Jets, with Justin Fields as their quarterback, there's questions there of how well that system will work together. So I think the Patriots, who on paper have a better roster, will win this game. In Week 12, the Patriots get to travel to play the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think the Patriots will win this game. The Bengals, of course, have an amazing offense, and there's no denying that, but I think the Patriots are a more well-rounded team. That Bengals defense leaves a lot to be desired, so I think the Patriots come out with the win over the Bengals. In Week 13, the Patriots get to host the New York Giants, and I think the Patriots will win this game. The Giants are not going to have a good season, and I think the Patriots are good enough to beat them in Week 13. In Week 14, the Patriots get their late bye, and in Week 15, the Patriots get to host the Buffalo Bills, which I think they lose. The Bills, like I've said, are the best team in this division, and I don't think the Patriots, even off their bye, will have enough going for them to beat the Bills. In Week 16, the Patriots travel to play the Baltimore Ravens, and I think that unfortunately for the Patriots, they lose this game. The Ravens are going to be one of the best teams this year, and they will beat the Patriots. In Week 17, the Patriots now get to travel to play the Jets, and I think the Jets will split the series with them and win at home. And to finish out the Patriots season, they get to host the Miami Dolphins. And I think they'll win this game. Miami, as much as their high-end talent looks very good, and Tyreek Hill and Devon Achane, I think the Patriots are a much better roster. The Dolphins team has a lot of holes on it, and I think the Patriots will win this game to finish out their season with a record of 10-7. Next up in the AFC East, we have the Miami Dolphins. And in Week 1, the Miami Dolphins get to travel to play the Indianapolis Colts, and I think they'll win this one. The Colts have issues at quarterback, and Miami Dolphins should, at least now, before any potential injuries occur, be the better team. In Week 2, the Dolphins host the New England Patriots, and I think they'll win this game. In Miami, the Patriots don't usually play very well, and the Miami Dolphins should be able to take advantage of that. In Week 3, the Dolphins get to travel to play the Buffalo Bills, and unfortunately for the Dolphins, they usually don't play too well when they are playing Buffalo, so I see them losing this game in somewhat convincing fashion. In Week 4, the Dolphins get to host the New York Jets, and I think they'll win this game. At home, they should have enough going for them to get the win over the Jets. The Jets roster isn't as talented as the Miami Dolphins, even though the Miami Dolphins is by no means a perfect roster. In Week 5, the Dolphins get to travel to play the Carolina Panthers, and I think the Dolphins will win. Carolina, this early in the season, will likely, it'll take some time for them to get their roster playing at peak quality, so I think the Dolphins should be good enough to win this game. In week 6, the Miami Dolphins get to host the LA Chargers, and I think the Chargers are much more talented. They have better quarterback, better head coach, better roster than the Dolphins, so the Chargers will get the win here in week 6. In week 7, the Dolphins get to travel to play the Cleveland Browns, and I think the Browns will win this game. The Browns defense will probably be the reason they do win this game. The Dolphins O-line leaves some quality to be desired. Their playmakers, while elite, have regressed in the past season, and Tua, unfortunately, is very injury prone. And I think if any team can take advantage of this to win a game, it's Cleveland. In week 8, the Miami Dolphins get to travel now to play the Atlanta Falcons, and I think the Falcons will actually win this game. In week 9, the Dolphins get to host the Baltimore Ravens, and I'll pick an upset here and say the Dolphins actually win. Smart money would be to say that the Ravens win, but I think the Dolphins here at home should be able to pull off an improbable win against Baltimore. In week 10, the Dolphins now get to host the Buffalo Bills, and I think at home they'll actually win. The Bills are the best team in the division. I'm not denying that. I just think the Dolphins at home, coming off a mini bye, should be able to be rested up and ready and beat the Bills at home. In week 11, the Dolphins now get to host the Washington Commanders, and I think the Commanders will win this game. Jaden Daniels is an amazing quarterback, and as long as he doesn't have a sophomore slump, the Commanders should be in position to be one of the juggernauts of the 2025 season. In week 12, the Dolphins get their bye, and in week 13, the Dolphins get to host the New Orleans Saints, in which they will win because the Saints will not be able to match them on either side of the ball. In week 14, the Dolphins get to travel to play the Jets, and I think the Jets win this game, splitting the series with the Dolphins. And in week 15, the Miami Dolphins get to travel to play the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think the Steelers will win this. Like the Browns before them, the Steelers' defense, I think, is what decides this matchup in my mind. Their ability to take advantage of the fact that the Dolphins' O-line is not a top 10 unit, and the fact that Tua is injury prone, the Steelers should be able to take advantage of that and win. In week 16, the Dolphins get to host the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think the Dolphins will win this game. The Bengals' offense is very good, but their defense is very bad. So it all comes down to if the Miami Dolphins defense can do just enough to beat the Bengals, and I think they will. In week 17, the Dolphins get to host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think they'll win this game. And in week 18, the Miami Dolphins will get to travel to play the New England Patriots, and I think in New England, the Patriots get the win to finish out the season. And so that means the Miami Dolphins' final record for the year will be 9-8. To finish out the AFC East, we have the Buffalo Bills. And in week 1, the Bills get to host the Baltimore Ravens in a rematch of last year's playoffs game. And I think the Bills will win this one. The Ravens, this is a matchup between two great teams, and I had a very hard time picking it, but I think that history will repeat itself and the Bills get the win. In week 2, the Bills get to travel to play the New York Jets, and I think they'll win this game. In week 3, the Bills get to host the Miami Dolphins, and at home, where they have that amazing home crowd, they'll get the win. In week 4, the Bills get to host the New Orleans Saints, and this is just not going to even be close. The Bills are by far the superior team in this matchup. In week 5, the Bills get to host the New England Patriots, and at home, this early in the season, they'll have no trouble beating the Patriots. In week 6, the Bills this time will get to travel to play the Atlanta Falcons, and unfortunately for the Falcons, they're going up against Josh Allen, which means they're going to lose. In week 7, the Bills get their bye week. In week 8, the Bills get to play the Carolina Panthers coming off their bye week, which means the Panthers are going to lose. In week 9, the Bills get to host the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think they'll win this game. In the regular season, the Bills seem to be able to beat Patrick Mahomes with some consistency, so they'll get the win here. In week 10, the Bills get to travel to play the Miami Dolphins, and the Miami Dolphins at home should be able to beat the Buffalo Bills. In week 11, the Bills get to host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think the Buccaneers will lose to the Bills at home. In Week 12, the Bills get to travel to play the Houston Texans, and I think in an upset, the Texans will win this game. I think the Texans have enough pieces on their defense and offense to make it a close game with the Bills, and I'll pick the upset and say they'll win. In Week 13, the Bills now get to travel to play the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think the Bills will win this game. Fortunately for Pittsburgh, the Bills are the much better team. In Week 14, the Bills will now get to host the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think the Bengals will win. The Bills' defense is by far not a stellar unit, and in a situation where both teams' defenses are not perfect, I think the Bengals will be able to outduel Josh Allen with their elite playmakers like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. In Week 15, the Bills get to travel to play the New England Patriots, and I think they'll win this game. In Week 16, the Bills now get to travel to play the Cleveland Browns, and the Browns are not anywhere good enough to even dream about beating the Bills this season. In Week 17, the Bills have a potential Super Bowl preview matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think the Bills will win this game against Philly. No offense to Philly, they're a great team, but I think the Bills have the better quarterback, and in big matchups like this, having that elite quarterback is all the difference. And to finish out the season, the Buffalo Bills get to host New York Jets, and I think the Bills at home get the win over the Jets to finish out their season, and their record for the year will be 14-3. With that being said, guys, please like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. Tell me what you think, and I'll see you next time.